Yeah. Yeah. Guess who came back with a large fucking fist to eat the Brooklyn blast furnace? I brought your ugly bitch with me. Your shit is sus. Ain't nobody trying to hear you talk. When Jimmy's on the mic, they take your whack shit and turn it off. It's real life, not them stories that you punks say. He made it out alive, and he's relatively unscathed. So subscribe to the podcast and share the post and tell your stupid friends to do the same. You heard it here from Coast.
That's it. Even though we were talking for like 10 minutes already, almost 15 minutes.
Yeah, listen, I had nothing else to say, so.
Yeah, I know. It's it. That's it, kid.
I told you everything I have.
It's a wrap.
Thanks, seeing everybody.
Yeah. I have no idea what number episode this is. It's close to 400, I guess. Another episode of the Brooklyn Blast Furnace podcast with my man over here, who I kind of feel like an asshole because I feel like you should have been on here like a long time ago. But my friend Artie Alexander, everybody, guitar player for Fire is Murder, Damn Your Eyes, Leeway NYC for a few years, did a little stint with the Cro-Mags, and that's all I'm aware of. What else?
It was with Harley. It was before he won the name back. Actually, he won the name back when I was with them, but
yeah.
So I was never officially in the Cro-Mags, and believe me, I got the legal emails telling me I couldn't say that. So.
Oh God, really? Jesus
yeah.
Christ!
Yeah.
You know what? So you were a quote unquote hired gun, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, I was in the band up until he won the name, and then it was funny too because I was in the recording studio doing stuff with Damn Your Eyes, and I called him up. I saw that he had won the final thing, and I said, congratulations on that. And I was joking around because he'd always say, you can't say you're in the Cro-Mags because we don't have the name, So I said, hey, Ollie, does this mean I'm in the Cro-Mags now? Joking around. And he goes, no, you're in Damn Your Eyes. And I said, you know what? You're right. And I quit.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Fucking, that's a whole other fucking thing. But I'm not going to talk nonsense. I don't know the man personally, but I know a lot of stuff. Everybody knows these things. But anyway. So, but you did go on like a couple of tours, and you did a run with them for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I the whole experience for me was awesome because, I never toured, I never did any of that stuff, and through a friendship that we developed through our kids. Actually, our kids met on a vacation, and then that's how we got to know each other. It was a weird situation.
Really?
And,
okay.
So. I would bring my son out there to his house, and the kids would hang out. Me and Holly would hang out and stuff. So the whole situation was awesome for me because I have faith in something bigger than myself. So someone stirred my drink a little bit, and one thing led to another in my life. And all the experiences I had with that and after that were all a blessing to me anyway. So
right.
I really don't have anything bad to say.
Right. I mean, we're all adults here.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot is what I did,
Yeah.
So those experiences helped me decide, what kind of person I didn't want to be or what kind of person I did want to be.
Yeah.
My angle on the music industry, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a really good experience. I don't have malice towards the man at all.
Right.
I got to do cool shit. I got to open up for the Misfits at Prudential Center with Suicidal. I got to do all that stuff. And
that's fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah. So
that's just awesome personal experience. That's like, for me, I was never in a band. That would be like bucket list shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was actually the easiest show I've ever played in my life. The biggest show was the easiest show I've ever played in my life.
Really?
The smaller ones, I always had butterflies. That one, it just seemed so natural.
Nice.
Getting up there and kicking it like that and. Having a good time. So
yeah,
it was awesome.
Hey man, you touched on something that I absolutely agree with. It's like I think I used to be. Not even I think I know. I used to be like this angry, bitter person with a chip on my shoulder for a long time, dude. And over the past several years, I mean, there's always somebody that can poke those right buttons, and the next thing you know, you're turning into a different person that's not yourself anymore. But like there's people, like, I have no malice or ill will basically towards it. I look at all these, like, whether it's a negative experience, I always try to look at the good in it, but I also take away, I know what I don't want. I know what kind of a person I don't want to be. And I try to take lessons from everything. It's like, oh, you wasted X amount of time with this person. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Because there were some cool times, but then, now I know what I don't want. You know what I mean? And it's all,
Absolutely.
it's a lesson. It's a lesson. It's like, do I regret shit? No, not really. It's just like, you know what I take from it? I learned valuable life lessons. And it's like, I think I just became less angry. I'm more like, whatever about a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was asked one time, like, what do you want out of life, or that kind of a question, and I didn't know, so I just wrote down what I didn't want.
Yeah. Easier.
Okay, I'm not going to do these things, and I guess I'll be getting what I want, the other way around.
Yeah.
And patience and all that stuff. It all just works itself out.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. I try to live my life by 6 words. Try not to be a dick. Really. And operative word there is try,
Yeah.
because every once in a while we have a bad day and you have a shitty day or whatever. You might whatever, but try my best to try not to be a dick. I try to help out people as much as I possibly can, and I pay my own way. I do my own thing. I'm my own backup. So I fucking go to work and I do what I want because I provide for myself. So I do whatever the fuck I want to do. You know what I mean? And it's a great fucking feeling.
You're adulting, and you're doing it in a positive way.
Right. 100%.
That's for my life, that's kind of what I just want to be, a positive person and be a positive influence.
Right.
And surround myself with people that are a positive influence for me. I always try to shoot up with people, where, I'm taking my advice from people that experience more than me. I'm doing all that stuff. I don't listen to the negativity.
Right. No, I could care less.
Tell me I can't do something, and I'm gonna go do it.
100%. Yeah. And at the end of the day, the person that means the most, and really at the end of the day, the only person that really, really, really means, is my daughter. You know what I mean? So I have an incredibly amazing relationship with my daughter. And I keep it that way. I don't need any outside influences or anything like that, or people in my life that will put any kind of a damper on that. Like, I protect my peace and my daughter, and we do awesome shit together. And she's getting older. She's going to be 16 years old. So she's like, she's not a little kid anymore. So she's like my best friend. You know what I mean? And she's just like me. She can't stand nobody. She hates everything like me. She has no patience for bullshit. She calls people out. Like, me and her will drive around, and all we do is just rip everyone apart. It's just hilarious. You know what I mean? But that's what really matters. And even though we joke around and we say stupid stuff to each other, like, I'm a positive influence on her. She sees what I do. She knows I'm responsible, and I think she picks up on that. Her mom too. Her mother's responsible, and her mother's remarried and stuff like that. And so she has, even though she comes from, I guess you could say, a quote unquote broken home, everything is very stable. There's no drama. I'm in great terms, and I'm really good friends with my daughter's mother. There's no weirdness. There's no tension or drama. I walk in their house like I own it. You know what I mean? There's no weirdness.
Yeah, it's important.
And some people think that that's weird. I'm like, fuck that. I'm grateful, and I know that I'm lucky that I have it that way. Because you hear the horror stories.
Oh yeah, listen, I lived a little bit of a horror story, and at the end of the day, when my son's mother, we crack up, we laugh, It is what it is. What happened is what happened.
Yep.
Different time now, and it's funny because with kids, you could tell them what's what, till you blue in the face.
Right.
But the reality of it is they see what you do.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. So like your relationship with your daughter, it all starts with you.
Oh yeah.
It's putting that oxygen mask on first.
Right.
They tell you in the plane. I got to take care of this first, and
have
this be well before I could be of service to anybody else around.
100%. Yeah, man. You see, that's what we do here on the podcast. We're talking about Harley Flanagan. Next thing you know, we're talking about being role models for your kids.
Yeah. Well, listen, everything that happened with Harley, and like I said, I have no ill will towards the guy. I don't have a relationship with him anymore. We don't talk or anything like that. But it is what it is. And my experiences with Gabby Abularock, with Harley, playing with him was amazing.
Sure.
He ended up leaving Harley and coming and playing Damien Rise and Leeway with me. G-Man, I love G-Man Sullivan. Great drummer, just great experiences with him all around the world. I learned so much from those guys just chattering, even about like old road stories or whatever.
Yeah, man.
I met Eddie Sutton in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a festival we were playing. We got there a day early, so I wanted to go see Leeway because I love Leeway.
Yeah.
And then G-Man and Gabby introduced me to Eddie, and Matty Pasta was playing for them, and Dag was playing, and then that's how I got to know Eddie. And then, fast forward a couple of years, I get on the train. I used to work as a carpenter in the union. Now I have my own company, but I come home and I sit down and I'm on my phone or whatever, and somebody sits next to me. I turn around and it's Eddie. And I'm like, holy shit, what's up? And we started talking. And then, 4 weeks later, I'm on tour with him playing bass,
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
I miss him.
That's how that whole relationship started.
I fucking miss him, dude. I do.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Yeah.
I have a pair of his shades right here. His little silly plastic white rim glasses. They're right here on my desk.
Yeah.
All the time.
He lived with me for the last few years of his life, and he's still here in this house.
Yeah, man.
There's still times where he'd come out. Eddie was such a character. So.
Oh God. Yeah, I know.
Hey, Pop, what's going on?
What's up, Pop?
It's hard to talk about Eddie without doing his voice.
Oh no, you can. I know I can't. What's up, B?
Yeah.
B and Pop all the time.
Can I give the girls some kibble before they go to bed? It is.
Some kibble.
Kibble. He always had words that were different.
Yeah.
I mean, the right word for it, but his vocabulary is pretty extensive. So he'd use words sometime, and I'd be like, "Stop trying to show off, Eddie. You're just being
You're in the house, like you don't have to impress me." Oh man, yeah, man. He, I mean, shit. I could talk Leeway and Eddie stories forever, man. But like, I knew him for a very long time. Like, I seen them live a million times, and then it was probably 92 is when I was formally introduced to him, or we formally met. That was at a show at the Marquee that's long gone. It was Life of Agony. Like their demos were just out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Burn, Mucky Pup, and Leeway. And I think that was the night where I formally met Eddie. And that was in like March or April of 92, bro.
So this is like right after Desperate Measures came out?
Right, yeah. Desperate Measures was out. It like just dropped.
Right.
And so, I mean, they were fucking on fire, man. And, that's when I met him. And then every show, whenever they would play, it was like Leeway, Biohazard, Life of Agony, always were playing every weekend somewhere. It was one of those bands, Typo Negative or whatever. And whenever they would play, I would go see them and we would bullshit. And then we lost contact for a little while because I had my issues and everyone knows that he had his, and that really doesn't make a difference, but that's the reason why, I guess. Plus there was no social media or anything like that. So we lost contact for a while, and then it was like MySpace came out, and then I reconnected with him, and then I saw them. And then we became closer and closer with more contact constantly. So, yeah, he was definitely a one-of-a-kind individual. Nobody was like Eddie Sutton, bro. Nobody. And, yeah, amazing frontman. And, yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad. I remember when he posted that he was diagnosed with cancer. And then, like, next thing you know, man, it's just like, he's gone. I was like, fuck.
2 years. When he moved in here, he said, I got 2 good years, Pop. Let's play shows. Let's do it. So we had made an agreement before he even knew that he had cancer. When I was playing bass for him, Dan Anastasi was playing guitar, and so I hopped in on bass, and we were talking. He said, I want you to stay on. And I said, the only way I'll do it is if my band, Damien Rise, becomes your backing band. This way we could play some shows together. We could do that kind of thing. And I'll give you a good band, And Gabby was coming on board at that time. He loved Leeway, so he could take care of all the Mike Gibbons stuff. Gabby's unbelievable.
Sure.
So he's like, let's do that. So, I would keep in touch with him he was down in Virginia, I think, and I was keeping in touch with him and stuff. And then I called him and he said that he was up here and he was staying in Laz's studio in Jersey. And
in Hoboken.
Hey, Eddie, are you kind of homeless right now? And he's like, yeah, kind of be. And I said, nah, you can live with me. So we rehearsed at my house. We did everything here. So it worked out really good.
I recorded a podcast with him in that spot in Hoboken.
Yeah.
They were the band. Because I grew up a metalhead, and they were the band that basically turned me into the direction of finding hardcore. They would open it. Leeway.
Yeah, they were a metal band.
Yeah.
But
in 1990.
Yeah.
In 1990, it was White Zombie, Leeway, Suicidal Tendencies at L'Amour's, and I went there to see Suicidal. I had heard of Leeway, but I wasn't familiar with them, and they came on, and I was blown away. And from there, I bought Born to Expire because Desperate Measures wasn't out yet. And then fast forward, I'm going to say it was maybe 2018, 17 or 18. I started booking shows at Lucky 13, and I probably did about 30 different shows there, and then I kind of just stopped. And one of the last shows that I did a veterans benefit for the Purple Heart Foundation. And I reached out to Eddie, and I'm standing on that stage at Lucky 13, and here's a version of Leeway is playing my show. So it was such a full circle moment for me personally. I'll say it right here. I'm standing on the stage, and it might sound corny to people, but I'm standing on the stage almost choked up.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm here right now, and then this just happened. I'm friends with this guy. I was never a fanboy like that, but I'm friends with this guy, and they're playing this show, and that's how it all started, and now I'm booking them. It was just a very, very, very cool experience. And he played for nothing because it was a veterans benefit. He played for nothing. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I was like, bro, I'll give you something, whatever. Just ask me. Pop, it's all right, B. It's for the veterans. It's all right.
All right, B.
All right, B. It's for the veterans. And he did that. And then, and then I was done. I was done putting shows together. And I was just busy doing the podcast and my own thing. Like I was saying, I take all these road trips and shit, spending time with my daughter. I'm always busy. And when he passed, I was just like, you know what? I think I'll come out of retirement of doing shows because it's not about really bands or anything like that or me at all. It never really was. But if I can help out Eddie's family, I'm going to do that. And it was an awesome success, man. There was a lot. I'm not going to say exactly how much, but it was several $1,000s more than I thought we were going to pull in that I wound up handing Eddie's sister. Yeah. And I every single dime that came in that door went right into her hands. And when I left that night, there were still people there and stuff. It was just late, and all the bands were done, and everything was all said and done, and all the merch and all that stuff was pretty much done. And I drove back to my house just like, you know what? I know that everybody that everyone was thanking me. I'm like, don't thank me. I just came up with an idea, and I just started reaching out to people. So even though I came up with the idea and I booked the place, it's everybody else that made all this shit happen. Anthony from Killing Time gets paid to play, bro. Killing Time didn't ask for a dime. You know what I mean? And you, of all, you're the one that basically put together the entire Leeway tribute set. I told people that, yo, thank Artie for that, because if it wasn't for Artie, I wouldn't have been able to pull that off.
Killing Time. My dog's been whining on the top of the stairs, so now she's down here. Killing Time was the last show that we played with Eddie. It was us, Killing Time, and Black Church. Is that the name of the band? I can't think of it right now. I have a covered memory. It was in Worcester at the Palladium there, and it was a wall to wall. It's a big venue. It's a big theater.
I was there once. I saw Bane's quote unquote final show in 2016 there.
So that's where I met Anthony, and it was a great night, huge crowd, wall to wall, like I said, and it was a great final show for Ed. We didn't know that was going to be his final show.
Right.
It was a little after that he, kind of let me know that nothing was working, that they were, trying on him, and this was the end, and that was it, and then we went on from there.
But Anthony's a great dude.
So yeah, no, great. We met him after the show, and we were bullshitting and having a
Grew up with Eddie. Basically knew Eddie since he was a little kid.
yeah. So
Yeah.
It was nice to do that Brooklyn show with them because the last show that we did was with them. And,
yeah. And I didn't even realize that either because I reached out to Anthony and he had to wait a second. He's like, but I could definitely do like a short token entry set because a lot of people didn't realize that Eddie sang for token entry when they were Gilligan's Revenge in the very, very beginning. This, that, and the other thing. So there was a connection there. And then he was like, oh, give me a few days. And then like 3 hours later, he hit me up. He's like, yeah, we're good to go. I'm like, killing time? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no shit. He's like, yeah, man, no problem. So, and I drove home that day knowing that everybody that had a hand in there, and myself included for a second there, I drove home knowing that we did a good thing. We did the right thing. And I felt good about that in a bittersweet situation.
Well, it meant a whole lot to his sisters.
Yeah.
You know,
that was the point.
And they're like family to me.
Yeah.
We still keep in contact. Not as much because we're all busy doing our own thing.
Sure. But yeah, I handed her the amount of money. I counted it all a couple of times to make sure it was right. I handed it to her. I said, here's blah, 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 blah amount. I was like, I hope it helps. Either if it's a little bit or a lot, I just hope it helps. And I gave it to her and she gave me a hug and it was this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I missed that guy. And yeah, what was weird, I think I probably told you this, but I was walking home from work and I knew that he was in hospice and I knew it wasn't going to be very long. And I stopped like literally in the middle of the street and I had an idea and I turned around to see how many blocks away the tattoo shop was. And I was like, all right, I'm going to walk down there. And I got my Leeway logo on my hand.
Yeah.
And then the next morning is when I found out that he was gone. I was like, motherfucker.
You know, what's funny is that's Eddie's the reason I met Steve Gallo. Because he was drumming.
Steve Gallo was a whole other fucking podcast. Because Steve is one of the
playing
big
drums for Kings of the Dime. We did a little tour together. And Steve Gallo, one of his best friends growing up, was like my little cousin. You know, we're not related by blood, but where they grew up in that town, I grew up with this kid my whole life. So Steve always heard stories about me, and I always heard stories about Steve, but we never met.
Okay.
So we meet on this tour, and Steve was just a wild man the whole time, and it was hysterical. But he was showing me some stuff while we were, in the tour bus, which is a van.
Yeah, boss.
We were showing each other music, and I was listening to some of the stuff. Yeah, I said, "This is great. Who's your guitar player?" He goes, "That's me." And I said, "Steve, this is really good stuff, man.
Yeah,
you should do something with this, Yeah.
And
said, yeah, you think so? And he's very humble about that stuff. And
yes.
I had to do his voice too, It's Steve Gabagool Gallo, we call him.
Yeah. Every time I just look, and before I even say what's up, if I see it from a distance and I start walking, I just find myself like giggling and smiling.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I just laugh. Like, what's up? And it's just craziness.
Yeah. He's a cartoon character, like Stigma. Like, I tell him, I said, Steve, you look like if your brother Mike and Stigma had a baby. That's
100%.
Like a completely mashed up of that. But that's where I met Steve, and we became friends, and we would talk here and there, and he had it took a little time, but he got Fire is Murder started, and they were doing their thing, and we were we played some shows together, and we would talk all the time, and Steve's a good friend, so it got to a point where they were making a move in the band, and they were he asked me about guitar players, and I said, hey, if you want, I'll play, and he's like, get out of here. So that's how I ended up with Fire is Murder, and I love it. It's so different, and it's very different. It's like Suicidal meets Nuclear Assault meets. It's like all these weird influence. There's even Iron Maiden in there, and Chris's voice is so unique, and Mike's such a great drummer, and I like the guys. It was a different dynamic for me. I'm used to doing either leading a band or doing all the writing for a band, and this was just me being in a band for the first time, and again, since playing for Harley, so I don't write any of their stuff. I don't do it. I'll come up with like, hey, let's noodle this or whatever, but I don't do. Steve does all the writing, and Chris does all the lyric writing, and So it's just one of those situations where I could come in and step in and just be a guitar player.
Yeah.
And just add and write leads for them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just be a part of that dynamic again. And now Odie, who plays with me in Damn Your Eyes and played in Leeway NYC with us, he stepped in when they needed him. And he was like, I can't commit, but he's having a great time with it too, you know? So, awesome. Yeah, so we're a really tight unit. You know, we practice once a week at my house. You know, we just released a new single, Amira's in the Asylum. Yeah, so that came out a couple weeks ago. We're doing the AF show with Murphy's Law and a few other bands. Yeah, I would name them, but I'm retarded. I can't remember anything. So
yeah, I'm
take it personally, guys. I'm retarded, and I use that word. By the way.
Yeah, me too. Listen, I'm born in '75. I say retarded, and I still sit in style.
Right. So yeah, we're doing that show. So that's a lot of fun.
So it's Agnostic Front, Murphy's Law, Violent Way, you guys, The Stress, Point Blank.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, but I don't want to be a jerk off and like indirectly without.
Too late.
Who?
I said too late.
You said I'm a jerk off anyway. It's all right. Oh yeah, no, I was right. Point Blank, Fires, Murder, The Stress, Violent Way, Murphy's Law, Agnostic. All right, I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
Nice.
They keep you around more often and let me know what's going on.
Yeah,
people are like, when are you playing that show? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's sold out, so anyone.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good night. The Amityville Music Hall, they redid it. They made it a little bigger. They took over the store next door.
Yeah,
so I haven't been there since. So
I've been there a couple of times, and it was weird because the first time I walked in there because it was like years since I'd been to the Amityville Music Hall, and then I walked in there and I'm like, have I been here before? Like, because it looks so much different. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm not sure if I was. And then I went to the back where everyone's outside smoking. And I was like, okay, this is the same place. Like, okay, like it's a different, it's definitely bigger. It's a whole different thing. But
I have a funny story about Eddie there. We were playing there with Murphy's Law, Leeway NYC and Murphy's Law. And I go in the back and Eddie's back there and I see it looked like little tumbleweeds of hair, all like floating around. Like, I'm like, what's going on? I said, Eddie, what's going on? He's like, some guy, got in my face and attacked me. So he grabbed him by the face. He had a beard, and he ripped the guy's beard off his face.
What the fuck?
The guy's hair. I'm like, what? It was horrible. He was this little skinny guy, but he's like,
he weighed like 110 pounds.
Didn't care. He's like, I pulled his beard out of his face, and I was cracking up. I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me.
He was such a little dude. Oh God. Yeah. Who came up? Because I always thought about this. Who came up with the name, and what does the name actually mean?
Fire is Murder?
Yeah.
Well, here's the story. I have no idea.
That's awesome. Good shit.
I think it was
the mystery fucking continued.
And here's the other deal. They've probably told me a few times. Okay. I still haven't. Yeah. Yeah, it was just I don't know. They liked the name, and I thought it was cool when I first heard it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's different. It's what it is what it is. It stands out.
It does.
But I really think that the music it's so thrashy.
It is. It's
so thrashy, suicidal tendency kind of thrashy. And it's got this other hardcore vibe to it. Steve wrote a lot of music for like AF and stuff when he was in.
Yeah.
So he wrote a lot of the guitars, not all of it, but he
yeah.
So that's another thing I didn't know, so
yeah. He was on several AF records.
He was with him for like 7-8 years.
Yeah. So he was on several.
So he put his time in with those guys playing drums, And
I know after that I had booked. It was one of the shows that I booked at Lucky 13. He was in a band. It was. I'm assuming it was very brief.
Eat Lead.
Huh?
Eat Lead?
No, I didn't book them, but I remember Eat Lead. No, it was a
band. I love that band. I love that band name.
Eat Lead. Saw. You know what? I saw them play at the Bowery Electric. I saw Eat Lead play. They opened for somebody. I don't remember who. Maybe it was like that Agnostic Front Sick of It All tour, maybe, or something like that. They did the little Tri-Borough thing. But no, I saw he was in a band called Menacing.
Get that.
There was a band called Menacing that he was in that was really good. I don't know what happened to it, but
yeah, he had some other projects he showed me that were, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's got a great ear for music, and
Yeah.
I mean, it was his life for a long, long time.
Yeah,
a lot of these guys, like, I I went a very different path. Music was a big thing for me, but I was more into the party of it. And I went down a whole nother path with that.
sure. So did I, even though I was
And I kind of, yeah, I mean, I had some really cool experiences in like '98. I auditioned for Biohazard, and
did you?
yeah, and it was between me and another guy for the spot. So the other guy, after I did my last audition, I stayed and I listened to him from the hallway, and I was like, oh, this guy's gonna get it because I wasn't a lead player.
Who was it? Was it Leo?
What?
Was it Leo?
It might have been Leo.
Leo
Yeah.
Curley.
Yeah, I wasn't a lead player, so I learned how to play lead for the Biohazard audition. And I had known about it a little earlier before they did the call because, I knew Joey Z and stuff, and he's, those guys go way, way back.
Sure.
And I know one of Danny's friends from growing up in his neighborhood from other bands. And I kind of got I knew that was happening, so I took the initiative to start learning all their songs. So finally I got a call. Evan called me and said, come in. And I was in Florida at the time, just visiting a friend. So I flew back immediately. And then I had the audition the next day and I did well. And then I went back another time and it was down to me and Leo.
Yeah.
And so when I first went in, I handed him like a little, cue card. And he's like, what's this? I said, this is all the songs I know. He goes, 26 songs. And I said, I'm tour ready, Yeah. And he was like, pick a song. So we started with that. And we jammed like 5 or 6 songs. And then they were like, you did great. And Danny said something to me. And I asked him about it too. I'm like, do you remember when I did this? He's like, no. but it was really, I was like, dude, don't you remember me? He's like, no, I have no idea. But he's a great guy, though. We were having a really fun time.
He is.
And, but he said to me, he goes, when you played, it was like having Bobby in the room. And that was like the biggest compliment you could ever do. Because Bobby Hamble and Dimebag Darrell were like my 2 guys, at the time. And so learning all those bluesy solos that Bobby did. And, I mean, watching Bobby play on stage, the guy spins in circles. He does all this stuff. I would be throwing up. I'd fall.
Yeah.
He had this thing about him that was
his
so
stage, he has
dynamic.
Natural stage presence. He always.
Yeah. So, just that whole experience for me was like, what, I could do this. And then I never got another opportunity, and life kind of went its way, and I got worse into my addictions, and I kind of walked away from the whole thing, and until I decided to change my life and get sober, and then 2 years later I'm touring with Harley, as soon as I get sober. So it was like, it was like one of those things where that, like I said, God's stirring the drink.
Yeah, man.
You start doing the right stuff and taking care of yourself and living your life right. And
things just seem to just happen and fall into place.
These opportunities come. So
yeah, man.
Bang! I'm back in, and I'm doing that, and then I'm doing the Leeway thing. I had Damn Your Eyes going pretty much the whole time, writing, and getting all those things together. And we put out a record in 2019, and then we were doing singles, and and then our drummer dies. Our drummer Darren, he 6'5", 300 pounds, huge dude, lovable guy, great dude. An encyclopedia of music. You and him could have talked for 7 days in a row. Like just music stuff. You're into that stuff. He's into that stuff. He was like my partner in crime when it came to the band stuff. And then he wasn't feeling well, and he had, he went to the doctor and had this test done, and he had it's the stomach cancer and esophageal cancer, and it was just like,
wow.
We had recorded 6 songs together. 2 of them we still haven't even released. We're waiting to do another album so he could be on the album with us. We want to at least, have him on the album with us. And then, it's the deterioration. And we kind of kept going because Mike Podber, who played in The Hard Way and Achilles, we were friends with him. So, we asked Darren, is it okay if we ask Mike to fill in for some of the shows we have? We had a couple shows, out of state to play. And Darren was like, just keep going, man. I'll get better. You keep going. And so we never really had and then Darren passes away. So, and we kept going after Darren passed away because he demanded it of us. Don't stop, keep going. Don't give up on this band. I believe in this band. It's a really good band. And we played some shows without him, and that's how we got to know Tommy Victor. Tommy came to one of our shows, and then after the show, he came up and he said, "I got to tell you guys are the best live band I've seen in ages."
Wow.
And we're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Listen, take us on tour." And he's like, "No." Actually, his wife said, "Tom, you should take him on tour." He's like, "No." And I'm like, I sort of laughed.
Why not?
I'm like, "Why not?" He goes, "I'm not following you guys every night. No way." And I said, no, seriously. He's like, "No, I'm serious. I don't want to follow you guys every night." And I was like, "Wow, that's really good. That's really cool." And then, Tommy became a good friend too. So
Tommy's a good dude. I had him on here years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, something with his daughter was like first, I believe it was his daughter, was like a newborn.
Oh, that's dude, she's an adult.
No, this is no.
Oh, his baby daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably a year and a half or so ago. She's young.
It was definitely before. It was before COVID.
Then it was probably maybe Tommy, his son.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's probably Tommy. Yeah, that's the only kids he has.
All right, so it's
that I know.
This was probably 6 years ago.
Yeah. So we did some shows at Prong and stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool, man. Great band.
I know they're going out. I think the Cleansing. I think they're who knows? It's like 30 years, so they might be doing something with that and put the pot. Stir that pot.
Yeah. Well, Fire is Murder, maybe.
Damn Your Eyes. This is the Damn Your Eyes gig.
Damn Your Eyes thing. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Fuck. Yeah. So I mean, it's funny how, and then next thing you know, you're not in the union. You start your own company. So I am a believer in that too. It's like if you just do the right thing, the right shit happens. Like I've been like the last year, a little bit more than a year. I just been like, because I cut people out of my life, and I'm like this, and so many things I've done so many things, and opportunities have come up, and I jumped on all of them because I had the freedom to do whatever I want. So it's just awesome. It's just do the right thing, and the right things happen. And I'm not like this. I don't have a religious bone in my body. And I think as I get older, I don't even know if I'm a spiritual person, but I think it's almost like karma. You know what I mean? It's like do the right thing, good things happen. Very simple. You don't have to complicate it. If you're an asshole, shitty things will happen to you. If you're a good person, good things happen.
Yeah, well,
I try to keep it as simple as possible.
Things happen to good people too. It's just the world. It's just you live every day, you do your best. That's the situations you find yourself in, and then you deal with them.
Right.
So I don't know how all that works, and I don't even want to know.
Me neither. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure it out or have the ego to say that this is how it works. I have no fucking idea.
Right, yeah. Like
I have no idea.
I'm a retard.
Yeah, I'm a fucking retard, bro. I'm a knucklehead from Brooklyn who drank and did drugs for the majority of his life.
Yep.
Made a million bad decisions. I have terrible fucking judgment in people's character, especially females. And it's just like, what the fuck? So I'm winging it, bro. I'm just fucking winging it like everyone else.
Yeah, well, you know what? Leaving the union thing was just my principles didn't align with that, and with the way things run in the union, and how it was all just like toxic and fucked up for me.
Yeah.
And I've been a carpenter for 25 years. I do a lot of finish work. I'm a high end guy, and I said, you know what? You only live once.
Yeah.
And I just called my father about it because my father's like my consigliere. Like he's a wise guy. And I don't mean a Brooklyn wise guy. I mean he's just smart.
Yeah, and smart dude.
Yeah. So he's seen it all. So I said, "What do you think about this?" He goes, "I think you should do it." And my dad's pretty cautious about some stuff, but he's like, "Do it."
Yeah, fuck it.
It was like, all right, so
got to take risks too, man.
Yeah. I want to live my life the way I want to live my life.
Me too. Yeah. And I do just that.
Yeah, and I get bored easy, so taking risks is, a little anxiety goes a long way with me. I enjoy the unknown a little bit and going forward. And,
it keeps shit exciting, bro. It's like the monotony. Like my job, my regular job, I'm a union handyman in a 21-story commercial building. I have it really good, bro. Like the guys that I work with, my boss, my building, my upper bosses, everyone is cool. Some days I can't fucking think straight because I'm so busy, and then some days I chill and I fucking do nothing for fucking 6.5 hours. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful when it comes to that. And every day is a little bit different. So it's not really monotonous, but it's cool. It's job security. I have a really good job. I have great benefits. I have overtime like crazy. So I make a good living for myself. And I had the opportunity to put money away to go on these crazy road trips that I am going on with my daughter last year, this year coming up. Like, I'm glad that I could sit there and I could be like, okay, I'm gonna blow 10 grand on a fucking road trip with just me and my daughter and blow 10 grand in 18 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that because money in, money out, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever. I did that last year. I'm gonna do it again this year. You know, so that's like my once a year thing. I go and I spend quality time with my daughter somewhere far away. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck just made me get onto that tangent. But
just because we were talking about doing whatever we wanted.
Yeah, basically. I do
whatever we want to do. We're gonna live our lives. Listen, you're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Damn right.
I have enough in assets that if something would happen to me tomorrow, my son would be taken care of. He'd have money in his pocket or whatever like that. And here's the funny thing is, I'll be 10 years sober in April.
Yeah.
Before then I had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. I got sober. I was able to buy a house. I have this little recording studio in my basement. I'm learning. I've been working with Pro Tools for years, but now I'm really learning the engineering end of it and production and mixing. And so that's another thing I like to do, keeps me busy and sane.
I'm sober 10 years last September. My birthday, September 5th.
So you're more soberer than me?
No, it's not a competition, Artie. It's not a fucking competition.
I know. I just like to use the word soberer.
Soberer, yeah.
Soberer.
And you know what I did on a fucking whim? On my fucking birthday, it was my 49th birthday, my 10-year sober anniversary. I told my boss I had like 3 or 4 sick days left for the year because it was in September. And I was like, I want to take 3 sick days. He looks at me and goes, why, where are you going? I was like, I want to take Thursday, Friday, and Monday off. He's like, all right, that's fine. Go ahead and do what you got to do. I took a one-way flight by myself. I flew to fucking New Orleans. I rented a car. I did a whole bunch of shit in New Orleans. I drove up through Mississippi, all the way through Alabama, and I flew out of Atlanta, Georgia. 4 days, 4 states, by myself on my 10-year sober. On my birthday, I was in New Orleans eating oysters in the oldest fucking oyster bar on my birthday, on my 10-year sober day, and I couldn't have been fucking happier. By myself, watching a Baltimore Ravens football game and eating oysters, and there was a guy who looked like he was homeless with a disgusting fucking smock on, shucking oysters for me, and I couldn't have been fucking happier. I'm like, this is the greatest birthday I ever had in my life. Solo.
It's amazing. I never thought I'd be able to stop drinking and doing drugs.
Me neither.
It was like that moment of clarity, and then all of a sudden, my life takes off once I decide to stop, and I get myself in order, and then other cool things like we have mutual like Nako, right?
Yeah.
We both
That's
know
so
him.
funny that you know Nako.
Yeah, well, I was playing in LA, and we were playing a show in downtown LA. It was the Sound and Fury Fest. It's actually on YouTube. It was a great show, and I walked back there and. Backstage, and there's this guy standing there, and so he's like,
"Hey, Harley,
is Harley around?" And I was like, "No." So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe this guy bringing him weed or some shit. I don't know,
Yeah.
So I said, we started talking.
He's just a fucking LAPD detective.
I know. So we started bullshitting, and on that trip, Jocko Willink was supposed to do a show with us and come out and sing some songs, right?
Okay.
So something happens where he can't make it, and Nako came instead, and then him and Stacy came to the show that we had it was Long Beach, another show that we were playing, and that's how I got to know him, and we stayed friends. And then when I was out in Oklahoma, where I met Eddie, right? Yeah. He's like, do me a favor, my friend Danny lives out there. Hit him up.
That's how I met Nako, through Danny from House of Pain.
Right. So he's like, my friend, and I'm your friend Danny. He's like, yeah, Danny. So I text the number, and he's like, where are you? And I said, the hotel. He said, I'm going to come pick you up,
That's Danny.
And so he came, and he had this old undercover police car, it was blacked out. And I don't know how big he was. He's a tall motherfucker, you know.
Danny is like almost 6'6".
Yeah, so he comes walking in. I'm like, holy shit, dude.
The big boy.
You know. So he's like, come on, let's go. So I hop in the car with him. He's never met me before. I've never met him before. The Outsider House Museum was just being renovated. They were doing the work on it. So we went there. We checked that out. We went to some other locations. He took me all around Tulsa. He told me about the race riots. We hung out for the day, and it couldn't have been a nicer, cooler experience.
He's a great host, and he's very selfless. And I've been out there twice. I've been to the Outsider's house twice, and across the street, he bought another house right across the street. And it's
right, the Airbnb's got now?
Yeah, it's called he calls it the Greaser Hideout.
Yeah.
And because you can't stay in the museum. There's not even running water in the museum because it's a museum. God forbid a pipe bursts or whatever. So there's the bathrooms in the back by the gift shop. But right across the street is the Airbnb. And I went there a couple of years ago with my ex-girlfriend, a few years ago with my ex-girlfriend. And last summer, I went with my daughter. And she grew up watching that movie. So she feels like she's all that because she knows Danny Boy from House of Pain. But like we're across the street, and she grew up watching that movie, and we're in the house right across the street from Pony Boy's house, and we're watching The Outsiders, and we hear the fucking freight train go by and everything. So my daughter was like in heaven. Like, what a cool experience, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like one of the reasons it gives me the excuse to go on all these road trips is because of the thing that Danny Boy started. It's called the Delta Bravo Urban Exploration Team. Right. And that started when he first found, by accident, the Outsider's house when he was on tour in Tulsa with La Coca Nostra. He was bored, and he was like, the fuck do they do around here? And then it hit him, and he gave, I think, a cab driver a few bucks, like, can you bring me to where the Outsider's house? And he was like, yeah, sure. Long story short, there was a for sale sign. Mm-hmm. He wound up buying the house, and then everyone came out and supported him. But it was just weird. It's like, of all people, like I grew up watching that movie. Now my daughter and all this stuff, and it's like I'm friends with Danny, and I've been out there, and it's just like now my daughter's out there, and he basically created this whole film location thing, which I was always into way before that was even a thing. I just didn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder where they filmed this. I would like to go to the lake where they filmed the original Friday the 13th.
I saw you post that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, in June, I'm going to the actual, because it's an active Boy Scout camp still, but they do Crystal Lake tours. And for years, I've been wanting to go. So in June, I'm going. But even as a little kid watching that movie, I always wondered where is this lake? I know it's a real lake. I'm sure it's not Camp Crystal Lake, but they filmed this somewhere. And then years later, the internet, I'm like, oh, that's in Blairstown, New Jersey. I'm like, that's not even far from where I live. And next thing you know, I've been there, but not to the actual camp. I've been to all the other. But so we go, and it's an excuse to get out of the neighborhood. And I go on these crazy road trips and go to places that I would never think of going, all because there's certain movie or true crime locations in all these different states. So now, this coming July, I'm going to 7 different states in one trip.
I saw your itinerary. You posted it. And
it's insane.
I got tired just reading it.
It's insane. It's a thing.
You're going to be going like nonstop, you know?
Yeah, it's a thing. Well, last year we did like 5 states in 16 days, which was long. But this one I'm going 18 days, 7 states. But we're starting in Cali, like we started last year in Cali, but instead of going down into like Arizona and whatnot, we're going up. So we're going from LA to San Francisco, up through Oregon, into Washington State, then going east with Clipping, Idaho. My daughter wants to go horseback riding on a mountain in Montana. So I said, okay, so let's go, because Montana here is beautiful. From Montana, we're going down to Salt Lake City. We're driving all through Utah. Then we're cutting all the way across Nevada and then going back down and starting in LA again. So it's a giant fucking loop.
Just the landscape you're going to be seeing.
100%, dude. And it's like I'm going to drive up the 101, which is basically the extension of the Pacific Coast Highway, up through Oregon. I heard it's absolutely fucking beautiful.
Oh,
So it's like at the end of the day, like all these movie locations are just, that's what gets posted, and that's the things that I do. But it's all of the in between stuff that doesn't get posted on the stupid fucking internet or anything. It's the time that me and my daughter are laughing and acting like two fucking retards, like in the because I always rent like a small SUV so we have some room, and we just go and we hardly even put the radio on, and we just bullshit and laugh and act like two children and laugh for fucking 16 days like last time.
It's the diners, it's the people in the diners, or wherever.
Yeah, all of that.
The gas stations.
Yeah.
I drove cross country one time. We stopped at a gas station in the middle of the mountains. Nobody there. It was like one of those old gas stations.
Yeah.
We're like walking around.
It's like horror movie shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, man.
John, like, yo, we're gonna get killed. Like,
yeah, man.
Screams. There's nobody around. It was really awesome. But just the landscape and all that experience of, who you run into. You say hello to people. They pick up on your accent immediately.
100%.
You know what I mean? As soon as you start talking, they're like, all right, this is interesting to me. Let's talk. So you meet a lot of really cool people.
Yeah. So I have a goal. I want to get a location in all 50 states. All 50. Alaska and Hawaii included. And right now I'm at 30. So once this is all done, even though I have California, I'll have 36 states. I'll only have 14 more to do, which is doable. Couple years, done. All 50. And like, why not? I've been to every single state and been to somewhere. Some states, like I was stationed in the Air Force in New Mexico years ago. But then, like, we stopped in Albuquerque. I hit a whole bunch of Breaking Bad spots and visited fucking the houses and all that shit. But Albuquerque is a shithole to me. I'm like, So will I ever go back there? Probably not. Is every state awesome? No. But I've been there. Cool. And, but some other states, like my daughter last year, we went to San Francisco. She absolutely loved it. She had the greatest chicken Caesar salad she ever had in her life. She's like, Dad, I want to go back to California because I want to have that Caesar salad. I'm like, so basically we're going to fly all the way to California so you can eat salad? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. My son's 16th birthday. I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go see Slipknot live. And I said, oh, cool. I said, what they're coming through? Where are they playing? He goes, in Tennessee. And I said, so you want to go see Slipknot in Tennessee? He's like, yeah. So I booked the trip.
Yeah.
We flew down to Nashville.
Yeah.
We went down there. We ate, in town.
Yeah.
Whatever. We went to the concert. I didn't have a lot of time, so we flew in, watched the show. We flew out. A day later, whatever it was.
Why not? And you know what? If you were still out there doing what you were doing, you wouldn't probably be able to do that.
Oh, no way. I wouldn't be alive. I would not be alive.
Me neither, dude. Me neither.
Everybody I grew up with or what I knew, either it went in thirds, right? So either they didn't have a problem, they had a problem and got sober, or they're dead.
Me too.
That's it. I've been to 100 funerals at least.
Yeah.
The majority of them were, just
drug or alcohol related.
Drug or alcohol, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that I made it through. I talk about the fact that I'm an alcoholic because everybody knew. It was not like,
me too.
I was just an animal, and I fought a lot, and I had violence was a big part of my story. I don't know how I never went to prison. I don't
either.
I was an everyday felon. I committed a felony almost every single day.
Yeah.
Just all of that stuff. I never got a DWI. I don't know.
Me neither. I was just talking about that.
Never drove when I wasn't drunk.
Me neither.
Drunk 24/7 most of the time.
Bro, that's so funny you said. I was just talking about that.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know how I don't have a DWI. I got close one time. I got pulled over and the cop was cool, but he had every fucking right to drag me out of that car, impound that shit, and lock me up. But he didn't. But I don't know how. I don't. And at the time, I was with my ex-wife, and I was living in Jersey, but I was working in Brooklyn. Dude, I would leave my house in Jersey before I went to work. I'd stop at the liquor store, and I would be drinking on my way into Brooklyn. As soon as all the because I worked in a school, once the after-school programs, all that was done, I'd go to 7-Eleven. I would be drinking like a fucking maniac all during my shift. And then right before, instead of just drinking all the beers, I would stop at the liquor store and buy like a pint of vodka couple of pints of vodka, and be drinking it out of the bottle all the way from Brooklyn all the way back to Jersey after drinking for 11 hours, 12 hours straight.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't get into a wreck, how I didn't fucking get a DWI, how I didn't get arrested doing any of this shit throughout the years that I've pulled off. I have no idea, dude.
No liver damage?
No. I'm like, how the horse?
They told me my liver was okay. I was like, what? I was
Yeah.
like a 40 drink a day guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was beer, liquor,
Yeah, same here. All day. All day. I did have surgery when I was younger, though. I did have surgery because I had acute pancreatitis at 20 years old. And I did have surgery, and then I had to get surgery again because of the surgery. But I didn't stop drinking. Bro, I had the second time I had surgery, I had staples and fucking stitches down my fucking stomach. I signed myself against doctor's orders, and I go home, and I fucking, before I go home, I stop at the bodega, and I buy 3 6-packs of Heinekens. And I'm sitting there drinking with staples and shit. I just got out of the hospital. For 9 days, I'm in the hospital because of drinking-related surgery. Mm-hmm. And I have 3 6-packs of Heinekens, watching a Yankee game, smoking a joint, drinking beers.
Yeah.
There's something wrong, bro. There's something wrong. And that was in 2001. And I didn't stop. I stopped in 2004 for like 6.5 years. And then I went off the fucking deep end for like 3.5. And then I got sober September 2014. I've been sober ever since. Nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be a drunken mess.
Me
thinking
too.
that everybody that had normal lives are losers.
Oh, yeah.
They're all schleps, like
you going away like a fucking robot. Fuck out of here. You go to work every day.
Yeah. Just filled with resentments.
Me too.
Everybody. I was planning murders.
Yeah,
bro. I was like, how am I gonna get away with that? Like, I was really I was going out of my mind,
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So you know what? That line in might have been Green Mile. Get busy. No, it was might have been Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or
get busy dying.
Yeah, that's 100% Shawshank.
Yeah, and I remember like saying to myself, "Well, I'm dying. I know I'm dying.
Yeah,
I'm drinking myself to death.
Me too.
I'm like Nicolas Cage and Leaving Las Vegas. But
I watched that movie for the first time, drinking like an animal.
Oh, and
that
line in my head, get busy living. So I said, you know what? Let me give it a shot because I thought life was going to be unbearable without alcohol.
No, life is awesome.
And then I stopped, and I can't imagine life with alcohol.
No, me either.
I'm in 12-step recovery. I do all that stuff, but like I've never in my whole sober life, I've never wished I could drink again. I never wished it was different. I never wished I could hang out and bar. Like I'll go to a bar to go eat or whatever, and I'll look, and it's the same people in the same seats. 10 years later, and they look terrible,
Yeah.
And I'm like, these poor schleps, and I don't. I've experienced all that stuff before.
Yeah.
I'm drinking my fill, and
I'm sure we both partied and drank for fucking 20 people's lifetimes.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Easy.
Doubt about it. I don't miss it. I like being aware all the time of what's going on around me. I not waking up wondering what I did or what I said. Am I going to jail? Why do I have a tooth in my pocket that's not mine?
Yeah.
Shit like that. That's shit I experienced. So what I busted up knuckles, like blackout kind of stuff. Did I kill somebody? Am I going like horrifying stuff? And then promising myself, okay, tonight I'm not drinking. I'd go to work. I'd have 2 hours of sleep. I'd go to work. On my way home and be at the bar. Just that insanity going over and over again.
Of course, man. You get stuck in a rut. You get in those, man.
Yeah. And then I saw some people get sober, and I'm like, if that idiot could get
if that fucking, I'm a retard. That guy's king retard. If he can fucking do it, I'm easy. This is easy.
I might be able to do this.
100%.
Yeah. So that they say, it's a program of attraction. So that a lot of people that I looked up to in my life were able to do it. So I said, let me give it a valid shot, and it's beyond my wildest dreams, man.
Yeah, man. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Even the simple stuff, Listen, I'm looking around my basement right now. I have guitars. I have all the stuff here, and I sold all my guitars. Sometimes they sold other people's. It was that bad, and it's that embarrassing. But these are the things I experienced, and and telling your stories and stuff like that. Sometimes, like I said, it's attraction. Sometimes people hear your story and go, "If that idiot can do it, maybe you can."
Dude, I wrote a fucking book, dude. I wrote a fucking book. It's
about your sobriety.
My whole shit. It's being edited right now. It's been for almost a year in my editor's hands. I wrote a fucking book, and that's the Instagram name because my old blast furnace fucking Instagram was hacked. So I wasn't gonna make another one and then have to. What am I gonna name it? And no, don't follow this one. That's hacked. So the Instagram name that I have right now, Relatively Unscathed, is the name of the book. Relatively Unscathed is the Instagram page that I have, and it's the name of the book. And I need like a secondary title, like not Life and Times of fucking Retard Ferrari or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew retard had to be in the title.
Yeah, it might as well be. How to not be a full retard.
Yeah.
You clean up your mess a little. Still a retard. Yeah, still a little bit of a retard. But I wound up writing a book, bro, because I did a podcast episode on here years ago, episodes 49 and 51, where I tell everything up to that point. And I was still with my ex-girlfriend, so you can take like the last 10 minutes of it and just like cut it out. But I did 2 parts. I did a whole thing, and then people were like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I want to know more about this, and this. So I did a part 2, and everyone's like, dude, that should be a fucking movie. You should write a book. That should be a Netflix series. That's insane. This, that, and the other thing. I was like, hey, I appreciate it, but the next episode's coming out next week. It was kind of just like it was. I didn't have any intentions on doing anything. It was just I think I didn't have a guest or something. It was episode 49 and episode 50. I was at the studio with the Sick of It All guys, and then like 51, I did part 2 of it. But then it was no joke, man. About a year and a half ago, I wish I had a better story for it. I woke up and it was like the second thought in my head was like, I think I'm going to write a book, and one thing led to another, and a friend of mine that I met doing this whole Delta Bravo shit, his father-in-law happens to be like this big-time fucking editor guy who edited The Stand and Pet Sematary and Dean Koontz books and James Patterson books. This guy's been doing this shit since 1969. That's his career. I got on the phone with him. Long story short, I told him my whole fucking deal. Basically, I just scratched the surface for like a half hour. I didn't shut the fuck up. And he was like, I have a question for you. I was like, what's up? He's like, how are you not shooting heroin or in a mental institution? I said, I don't know, dude. I'm on my lunch break at work. He's like, how much do you have written? I was like, nothing. At that point, not one word. He's like, go home and start writing. After 2 weeks, I sent them 180 pages. He's like, how the fuck did you do that? I was like, you told me to write. And it makes no sense, Artie, that I have a...
You should have said cocaine.
Yeah, I should have.
Crystal meth. I did a shitload of crystal meth, and I wrote my story.
Yeah. But it makes no sense. I have a ridiculous memory. I remember everything. I don't know how. And I just went in, and it took me 13 months to the day, and I handed him 753 pages. And it starts from... It's a little bit about my grandparents, then my parents, and the birth of my sister, and then me. But all of that is maybe 10 pages. And then it's from when I was born all the way up until 2015, when I got a little bit shortly after I got sober. So I cut it off 2015. 753 pages. It's not going to be that long. But the whole entire first edit is done. But there's several more edits that have to be done. But I wrote a whole fucking book, 13 months to the day.
I don't remember nothing about. I mean, I remember, but I don't remember nothing. I could never write anything down, and I never want to anyway. But that's
okay. But everyone, bro, you definitely have a book in you, though. Not saying you would do it, but you have a fucking book in you. I think everybody does if it's written and you touch on certain things. Everyone does.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah. And it's no holds barred, bro. I mean, I put myself out there, bro. I admit to shit. I fucking, a lot of names have changed. Some are the same, and a lot of people's names have changed. And good, bad, ugly. I fucking take responsibility for shit. It's like I'm not the fucking victim here. You know what I mean? Like it's honest.
My battery's about to die here.
All right.
It flashes on my screen. Low battery.
Can you plug it in, or you want us to go?
I can plug it in. You got to give me a second.
While you do that, I could just shout out my sponsor.
There you go.
So we don't have to rush. You know? My sponsor, Generation Records. Follow them on Instagram at Generation Records. I believe it's Generation Records Official, maybe. Generation Records. And they're located at 210 Thompson Street in the West Village in New York City. And they've been around since, I believe, 1992. And it's the best record store in Manhattan. And shout out to Marc and Ron and everybody that works there and the owners. And they have a lot of good shit going on in there. Sometimes they have shows, they have book signings, they have spoken words, they have a million T-shirts and hoodies downstairs and posters and books and all kinds of shit and records all over the place. And yeah, Generation Records, 210 Thompson Street in the West Village. You good over there, Artie?
There we go. Yeah. Look at that.
See, and perfect time. And I just shouted out my sponsor, and then perfect.
Put my glasses on here.
So you have them?
Just so yeah. Oh, that was a big Eddie thing. So
of course it was. I know.
You guys were on the set. I'll be down to do it later. And we'd be like, bring all your shoes.
So I have them. Fucking jerky boys. We all grew up to the fucking jerky boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So like basically, I mean, just to wrap up what we were just talking about, it's like, you know, somehow or another I got sober and awesome things have happened. Listen, life is life. You know, like I touched on before, you make some bad choices with people that you let into your life and stuff like that. But that really, if that didn't make me start drinking, like nothing fucking will. You know what I mean? And I have, at this point, I just have too much to lose. And like you said, I don't have, it doesn't even cross my mind, like, to go and drink. And I could, it's just like, it's the obsession, I guess, has been lifted, you know?
Yeah.
And I keep myself busy with fun shit that I genuinely love and enjoy doing. And it's just like, it's either that or what? Fucking drink myself into a fucking coma because I'm not having a beer with my meal. I'm not eating it. I'm drinking until I pass out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like being handcuffed all the time.
100%.
You know, remember when we were kids, they'd have the old prison movies and it'd have that thing around the guy's ankle with the ball and chain, you know?
Of course.
It was like that, but it came with emotional damage and all of that.
All the people around you.
Internal stuff and the way you look at yourself and you hate yourself, you know, like privately hate yourself. So
and you hate yourself.
It's like committing suicide really slowly. You know?
Very slowly. And you're hating yourself because of the shit you did. So what do? You drink to forget that you hate yourself. But then you did, and then it just compounds itself.
Yes.
And it's like, what the fuck?
Exponential compounding vicious cycle.
It's self-inflicted fucking torture.
Yeah.
It is. It's something.
I've been watching enough, so I'm, now I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I've had enough. I'm done punishing myself for no reason, and you move on. Always forward.
You know, when you grow up and all of my idols and stuff were party animals. You know, like that was like the thing, and it's like this is the life I want to live. It's like fun all the time, and. You know, even listen, remember the Pantera home videos, right? Yeah. I'm a metalhead. I'm a metal guy. I
grew up a metalhead. I still love metal.
I found a place in hardcore where I've seen the successes and stuff like that. You know, the small ones. I got to tour and all that. But, like you look at those old Pantera home videos stuff. And now, it used to be like we'd watch them and then we'd go out, you know, like, let's go. Now it's like you see something like that and it's just like, oh, man, I can't even.
Fuck that.
God, rest in peace, Dime, but he probably wouldn't have lived this long anyway.
Probably not.
So the way that they went at it.
Yeah.
So we probably
unless he sobered up like Zakk Wylde did, but who knows?
I heard a rumor. See, I met Dime very shortly before he was murdered, and I was actually with Bobby Hamble. We were at the Roseland.
Okay.
Not Hell Yeah. The other one. Damage Plan. With Hatebreed, and so I met Dime that night. I'm like, bro, I've been waiting forever to go out drinking. Let's go, you know? And he's like, well, we have a radio show in the morning. We have to leave. But next time I'm in town, we're going out drinking, you know? And he was known for doing that with people. So I believed him, you know? And he got killed a little after that. But I had heard that he was kind of towing the line where he was thinking about getting sober, you know, through the grapevine. Who knows if it's true?
Yeah. But who knows?
Can't live like that forever.
Yeah, man. Crazy shit.
He was my guy, and it's funny because I play like MLs and shit, and I never wanted to. It wasn't like I didn't want to be that guy that played Dime's shit.
Right.
And when I got sober, I was looking at guitars and I was looking at all these other guitars, and a friend of mine, Larry, was like, "Listen, I have one of these Washburn MLs that a fan had given him. He was a part of that whole Jim Brewer crew, you know,
okay.
And he's like, why don't you buy that for me? And I'm like, you know what? I always just wanted one. So just to have it. So I'll buy that one and then I'll get another guitar that I want after that. And I started playing this thing and I was like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it sits perfect. It plays perfect.
Yeah.
Any other guitar I would pick up after that, I didn't like it. And
right.
I'm like, I guess I'm playing these things now. You know,
yeah.
It was just one of those things where it was like, it fit me perfectly.
Yeah.
So
it was tailor-made for you.
That's how I ended up, you know, playing the MLs and the Deans and all that stuff. And I love them. So,
yeah. So what's going on with Fire is Murder?
Well,
besides the show, and I know you put out Mirrors in the Asylum.
Yeah, we're just keeping at it. Steve's got a shitload of stuff written.
Okay.
So he kind of introduces us to stuff here and there. And once the band is like, okay, we need to focus on a song, we do.
Okay.
But a lot of it was just getting Odie acclimated with the band too. So, you know, a lot of that was going on to get Odie just really comfortable. So when we were playing shows, you know, Odie performs, man. You know, so he's fun to watch. He doesn't stand there and look at his bass. He rocks out, you know.
Yeah, man.
You know, and so just getting him comfortable, and it took me a long time to get comfortable. It's not easy stuff to play.
No, it's not.
Oh no, it's a lot of fast picking, a lot of that kind of thing, a lot of off time. Stuff comes at you fast, you know. And, oh shit, we're in this part now, and so it took me a long time to get adjusted to it too. You know, Steve writes all over the place, but it works, you know.
That's because that's his mind. He's all over.
But plus, I space out in the middle of rehearsal. You know, we'll be jamming on something, and I'll be like, oh, I wonder if you know, like.
Yeah. I get it. Sure.
You know, like I kind of like butterflies. I don't know.
I'll
go anywhere and I'll be like, where are we in the song? So, but every time we play live, I'm ready. You know.
Sure.
I'm ready to go. I always hit my spots.
Yeah, you guys thinking about putting out like an EP or a record or something like that?
Yeah, there's always conversation of it. I think he has enough material to do it.
Right.
So yeah, they're always working on stuff, and I find out when they make a decision. So, which is what I wanted from them. You know, I have a lot of balls in the air. You know, I have a lot of things that are going on. All good things in my life going on, but it's just one of those situations where I get to, you know, they'll let me know what's going on. I mean, they say, hey, what do you think about this? It's not like, you know, they want me to be more included with that kind of thing. But and then
so once a week, you guys rehearse at your place?
Yeah, once a week. And these guys travel, man. I mean, Mike and Chris live, you know, kind of upstate, you know, so they come all the way to Oceanside, New York, or Long Island, you know. They come to rehearsal. Steve works out in the island now, so he does his thing and gets picked up on the way here, and so we rehearse once a week, and to keep it tight, you know. This is a band where there's so much picking going on. There's so much either mutes or down picks or whatever, that if you're not a well rehearsed band, it could get sloppy.
You could go off the rails fucking quick.
It could get sloppy real quick. And the last show we played was Steve's brother Mike Gallo's 50th birthday party, you know. And there was a lot of people came down, and a lot of really good compliments from people that I looked up to growing up playing, you know, just you know, you guys sound like a record. You know, when you're playing live, you guys are so tight, and that's awesome. That's how we have to have it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a big I'm a big rehearsal guy. I think the band needs to be well rehearsed.
Yeah.
So a lot of things go wrong on stage.
Of course.
You know, monitors go out, whatever it is, a lot of things go wrong. So you have to be
ready.
You know, it's like being a Navy SEAL, man. You got to practice for all these scenarios in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we don't have people running and plugging our stuff in if it goes out in rehearsal,
right.
But you really have to be a fine-tuned unit.
Yeah, you need to be like a machine, man.
Yeah, yeah. And if, you know, the band means so much to everybody that you want to always put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in April, because that's gonna be a great fucking show. And I'm hoping that my daughter is able to take off school that Monday, because I'll bring her, because she's getting into all this stuff too now.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, and I'll try to coerce her mom to, like, come on, let the kid get home from school a month, because it's gonna end late, and I'm gonna drive her all the way back to Jersey for her to go to school. Then I have to come all the way back to Brooklyn, drive around like an asshole looking for a parking spot. That's not happening. So she's off of school on Monday. I'll take the day off on Monday too. We'll go out. We'll fucking see you guys, and she'll see Murphy's Law and AF. And then we'll fucking hang out. And then, like, the next day, I won't have to feel stressed out, and I'll bring her home on Monday. But I'm hoping, regardless if she comes or not, I'll definitely be there. I'm looking forward to it, for real.
My son used to enjoy doing that stuff. And, like, I mean, he sang Hard Times on stage at the Prudential Center. You know, him and Holly's son went up at Hard Time. You know, he was younger, you know.
Yeah.
And then he got, you know, he loved Eddie so much. You know, Eddie lived in my house, and so he went to a few shows with that, and now it's old hat for him. It's like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care who comes to my house.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I have people over that, you know, I mean, I had their posters up in my room when I was a kid, you know, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. So,
kids out there don't care.
He doesn't care anymore, you know.
Yeah.
He's not impressed.
Yeah. No, my daughter's not either. She's like, whatever.
No.
And I'll mention somebody. She's like, who? I'm like, come on, you met so-and-so. She's like, Dad, you know so many people, I can't keep track. I'm like, no, but this was the time and the place where you met. Remember that? No. She's like, whatever.
I'm not impressed anymore either. I enjoy people's personalities, you know. So that's what it is for me. And I appreciate the longevity in music, because it's not an easy game.
No.
And I thought it was very different when I started to experience all this stuff. And then I saw what it was, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want to be a part of this. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. And
damn right there is.
Music, when no one's making money on their music, and you're pretty much out there selling T-shirts, you know. Yeah. You're a T-shirt salesman that has a band, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really the music industry has always been horrible.
Yes.
But if you had success at one point, you know, these guys were making some money.
Right.
And up until like 2000, you know, around that time, people were still making a little bit of money doing it.
Yeah.
Now, if you have the longevity, you know, the Life Agonies and the Biohazards, and
they're like legacy bands,
the Machine Heads and all that. They have a machine rolling in their favor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But they know that they're going to be getting money on tours and T-shirts. But for bands starting out today, it's almost impossible. I mean, I'm going to be 50 in June, so I'm not. I did the touring thing. I don't enjoy it very much.
Right.
I'm not a sit around guy.
Right.
And a lot of touring is traveling and sitting around and stuff. So, but I'll, you know, I would love to get Fire is Murder to Europe. I'd love to get Damn Your Eyes to Europe. I'd love to go to South America with these guys and Japan, something like that.
Experiences and just have fun without, like, that's how I approach almost everything that I do. That it's like a passion project. I have no even like my book, the podcast. I don't make a dime doing this. I don't care to, because I just enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like the book. I wrote a fucking book. If something happens, awesome. If nothing happens, that's cool too. Will I self-publish it? Probably. If that's worst case scenario, I will. Is it going to be a mass production? No, but I'm not going into anything with expectations. I learned a long time ago that when you have expectations or you rely on someone else, you wind up getting fucked in the end. So it's like, whatever happens, dude. And I've accomplished things and I do things that I enjoy. And that's all that matters. I'm not looking to be somebody. People are like, oh, you're an author. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, well, yeah, you are. You wrote a book. I'm like, I guess technically, but I would never refer to myself as an author. I wrote my own story. It was pretty easy to do. It's not like I'm coming up with something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Am I an author? No. I'm just Jimmy the retard who does things, I guess. I don't know. People are like, oh, you don't give yourself enough credit. I'm like, maybe I don't, but I'm not like that. I was never like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you're not thinking about yourself all the time, then you look at things like you are right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, I would never write a book because, you know, my ego doesn't. And I'm not saying people that do write books about this stuff, because I've read books that were very important to me.
Right.
That's, you know, just Jocko Willink's book or whatever. You know, these books are important to me because I take what works for me and I leave the rest.
Right.
And I like positive things.
Right.
So and sometimes you learn positive things by listening to somebody's negative story.
Right.
You know, so that's.
And when I first got into it, and I like said that I'm writing a book, like I felt weird about just saying that I'm writing a book, because I've done other people's podcasts where I'm talking about this shit, and I say it. I'm like, I don't want anybody to ever think that I think that I'm like somebody. I'm just a normal fucking run-of-the-mill fucking worker bee, like the next idiot out on the street. Like, I'm not a celebrity. I was never in a band. I'm just a regular person. You know what I mean? So people might think, oh, who does he think he is? Like, if you think that, then you have the wrong fucking impression of me. You know what I mean? Like,
but celebrity doesn't mean anything.
Right. I did it because
celebrity just means that people know who you are.
Right. 100%.
And you do something that a lot of people like because it's something you could listen to or something you could look at or something that you could read or whatever. But human beings, they do extraordinary things every day that are more meaningful than whatever celebrities do. It's just being known. So, you know, writing your story down on paper isn't a bad thing. It's not.
And it was a crazy thing too. Like there was certain things, like I've told certain stories to people 1,000,000 times, and that stuff is like, they were like, oh, it must have been therapeutic. I'm like, not really. Like, I didn't sit there and cry when I was going through certain things, or I did find myself laughing like a psycho by myself out loud at some of the stupid shit that I've done. You know what I mean? I'm laughing, but there was weird things that like I felt guilty about, the shit that I did 25 years ago that I didn't feel guilty about then, but I knew it was like a wrong piece of shit thing to do. But like as I'm writing certain things, I'm like, oh, wow, like that was a real piece of shit thing that I did. And I kind of felt bad. And to the person that I did these things to, that person has a different name in the book, but I apologized. And, you know, if somehow or another you're reading this, you know, I was 24 years old and I was an asshole, but then again, you were like 21 and you weren't that much better, but I did some shitty shit, you know, but it was just a weird thing. And when the last period, when I put it, the last page, I was just like, well, that was fucking something. I just fucking wrote a book. Like, it was a very fucking strange feeling. It was an experience.
It's got to be extremely difficult. Especially if there's timelines and there's all this stuff going on.
I went chronological.
And
I went chronological, dude.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, at the end, like, I was talking with my editor, we're going to take maybe like, almost like a Tarantino movie. We're going to take like half of like a big, major, life-changing thing and put it right in the beginning, and then kind of phase away and then go back to the beginning of my life and then tell the rest of the full story later on. Like, it's going to be switched around. That, like, I was like, listen, I didn't break it up into chapters myself because I'll overthink and I don't know when this is going to end, whatever. That's his job. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, he might mix things up, but every single letter and fucking punctuation mark in there is going to be from me.
Yeah, well, they know how to keep people engaged.
Right. I was like, you do whatever you need to do to make it like user friendly or easier to someone to read. But if there's anything that you want me to rewrite or get more into, then I'll do that. But I want it to be all me. You just put it formatted however the fuck you want to be a normal book, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Who the fuck knows? Like I said, no expectations.
My book would be written in crayon.
In crayon? Sick. That would be
I
awesome.
do it with my left hand in crayon.
That would be awesome. And you're holding it like this. Like not even like a normal person. You gotta,
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, the whole thing. Awesome. That would be good, man.
Yeah.
But,
So listen, I remember after Eddie's thing, we were leaving that day, and I said to you, I've never been to Spumoni Gardens. We got to go.
let's go.
So we got to make that happen.
So let's go.
Because I've heard about it forever, and I've just never went. And I usually because I forget.
What are you doing this weekend?
I'm supposed to do something. I told you that.
That's right. You did say that. Did we press record?
No idea what it is.
I think we were talking about that before I pressed record. Someone asked me to do something. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I'm doing something. Oh no. Sunday I'm going. I have something. That's what it is. Now I remember. It's for St. Patty's Day. So my girlfriend's mother makes corned beef and cabbage.
St. Patty's Day is Sunday?
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Okay.
Yeah. So she's an incredible cook. So
all right. Well, listen, we'll definitely make it happen. If it's not this weekend, we can absolutely make that happen.
Yeah. I wanna eat that pizza. I never had it. So
yeah, we're doing it on the weekend. What days you guys usually rehearse? Is it a weekend?
No, it's Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Tuesdays are usually rehearsal. Sometimes it's either Tuesday or Thursday, depending on people's schedules.
Gotcha. Okay. I
was
gonna say that would be cool. Like if it was a weekend, like you come here, we'll eat Spumoni Gardens, and then we'll bring like a pie back to your house, and we'll feed the fucking guys and hang out and fucking practice.
Okay,
but a weekday is terrible for me. I can't.
Let's do this. Let's see who watched this podcast, right? From the band.
All the way to the end.
Guys, if you bring it up, we'll do that, and we'll bring a pie. We'll have like a Saturday rehearsal. And we'll
all right.
Back to the rehearsal. So
there you go.
If they bring it up, then I know they watched it. If they don't bring it up, then I know they did.
All right, there you go. Well, maybe you'll have a Saturday rehearsal or something the day before the fucking Amityville show.
That's possible.
I mean, that would make sense.
That's a possibility. Yeah.
Sold out show, big
we
show.
Do Saturday rehearsals, and people have families and lives and all this other stuff going on, and weekends are tough. So
yeah. Well, same here. It's like I might have work. I might have already prior plans. I might have my daughters. Like it's during the week, I'm pretty much shot. That's why I'm glad that you were able to do this at 8:30, because like I try to stay consistent. I go to the gym after work, and then I do this. So I like to keep my routine, because you know the mentality. I didn't go today, and I'll rationalize it. It's all right. I don't have to go tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's all right. And what's a week gonna do? It's all right. I've been going for the last fucking 9 months. It's all right. I can take a week off. Next thing you know, I'm not at the gym for fucking 5 months, and it's like, what the fuck?
That's me, and I'm still paying.
Yeah, right. Right. All right. We'll definitely figure it out, bro. We'll go fucking L&B and on me, since you'll be in my hood, and yeah, there you go. And yeah, we'll go and we'll eat. We'll act fat, and we'll sit there and eat fucking pizza.
Yeah, I'm good at doing fat stuff.
Yeah, me too. On occasion,
I'm getting better as I get older too.
Yeah. Listen,
I've actually been eating healthy lately. I stopped.
Me too.
I stopped a lot of fast food. I was always on the go with work, and I make food and I bring it to work.
So do I. I actually do that too.
I eat healthier.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And actually, the last time I went to the doctor, he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Your numbers are incredible. What are you eating?" And I said, "Taco Bell." And he said, "Keep eating Taco Bell."
All right.
Your numbers are the best they've ever been.
Oh, shit.
We'll see what happens after I've been cooking for myself. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to put bacon grease in everything. So that's
probably. Yeah. Well, it adds texture and flavor. Come on.
Right.
Makes it juicy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely do it, bro. Listen, we have each other's number. It's this is I did this will come out probably in several days. Within the week, I'll drop this one, and then I'll drop Jeff. I have like 3 of them that I've recorded already with Jeff. I recorded one with Don Caprio a while ago, and there's this one. So it'll be out, but don't worry about it. It'll be out sooner rather than later.
That's why my battery was dead on here, because Jeff used it the other night. He did that podcast here.
Yeah, so, I know. His same backdrop.
And I forgot to charge it. And today I was like trying to charge it, and then everything was getting heated up. I'm like,
right.
60% should be good for this. And also,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody follow fucking Fire is Murder on Instagram. Just look up Fire is Murder. You'll find it on Facebook as well. And is that what you guys got? Facebook and
Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
We're on both of those, and it's on the Fire is Murder.
Yeah.
Or it might be Fire is Murder Official on Instagram or something like that.
All you got to do just search Fire is Murder, and it'll come right up. And it's Fire is Murder Official, I believe, with a couple underscores in it. But
maybe, yeah.
Something. And all I ever ask is everybody just to follow me on Instagram. There's the Brooklyn Blast Furnace group on Facebook, and there's my personal page. I don't give a shit. You can send me a request, Jimmy Ferrari. I don't give a fuck. And the Instagram is what I want everybody to follow, and it's at Relatively Unscathed. RELATI, Relatively Unscathed.
Yeah. Nice try.
Yeah. You know what's fucked up? It's like
nice try.
Whenever I'm on here, I can't fucking spell. But when I'm not, it's like it comes out normal.
And then if you put a little note over there, they're gonna see you reading it. So
I can't, bro. Yeah.
You got a teleprompter in there?
Yeah, I might as well, because I'm fucking stupid like that. Shit, dude, Artie, this was awesome. Yeah, we went an hour and 45 minutes. Who knew?
Nice.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, I'll let you know the day before it drops. I'll let you know that. And I'll tag you in all the bullshit. It'll be everywhere, and just share it, and everybody will listen.
Absolutely, I definitely will. And thanks for asking me. And it's always fun bullshit with you.
Yeah, man.
Whether it's on record or not, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we think a lot alike when it comes to a lot of things, and I learned a lot of things about you. We have a lot of the same shit. No DWIs. How we're still alive. We haven't been arrested. Like same kind of issues. 10 years sober. Yeah,
I'm allowed to buy firearms.
I know. You know what? I haven't tried, but I probably can.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not a felon. I don't know how.
No.
On a record.
Yeah, the first time I went into buy my own firearm, I grew up with guns in the house and stuff. My folks are from the country, so
yeah.
First went in there, I was like, oh no, they're gonna, and they're like, no, you're good. I'm like, oh, okay, good.
All right, good. Maybe we'll go to L&B, and then we'll go buy guns.
We'll go buy guns. That's a great idea.
Guns and fucking pizza, bro.
That's a good day.
America.
Every Saturday, America.
Let's do it. Be good, Artie. Thanks for your time, my man, and we'll definitely talk soon, bro.
All right, man. Have a good
night. And if I don't, I'll see you before the April show, regardless. I was gonna say, I'll see you in April, but I'll see you before that. We're gonna.
Who knows? Who knows, right? It goes like this. Everything goes like this now.
We'll have pizza before the April show. Guaranteed.
All right, great.
All right, bro?
Yep, later.
Be good, brother.